Today we'll talk about Eilat, but let's forget about hotels and beaches for a moment. Our goal is to unravel a 3,000-year-old linguistic thread and understand the meaning of this name. In the Hebrew dictionary, the name of the country's main seaside resort harks back not to the sea, but to botany. The word Eilat comes from the Hebrew root Ella, which translates as terebinth or wild pistachio tree. Literally, Eilat means grove of pistachio. It's hard for a modern tourist, looking at the sun-baked granite cliffs, to imagine dense thickets here. However, 3,000 years ago, that's exactly what it was. For the ancient nomads, the emergence of such a green grove, in the middle of the harsh desert, was a true salvation. The place was named after the trees, and over time, the settlement that arose here also took on the same name. This toponym in the forms Elath or Aloth was first recorded in the book of Deuteronomy, when the Israelites skirted the lands of Edom on their way to Canaan. But the true heyday of biblical Eilat is associated with the era of King Solomon. The third book of Kings explicitly states that it was here, near Eilat, that Solomon built his legendary fleet, which sailed to the mysterious land of Ophir in search of gold, precious stones, and sandalwood. Eilat became the first and main sea gate of the ancient kingdom. History has not been kind to the city. Over the centuries, rulers have changed dozens of times, but the ancient root of the name has proven incredibly resilient. The Romans, arriving on these shores, simply adapted the Hebrew name to their Latin, turning the city into Eilat. The port was known by the same name by the Byzantines and early Arab rulers. There was, however, an attempt at renaming it. The Egyptian Ptolemaic dynasty named the local port Baroness in honor of their queen, but the name never caught on. By the early 20th century, the ancient city had virtually disappeared, turning into a lifeless desert. The only inhabited point here was a tiny British border post of 5 mud huts, which the Arabs called Rashrash. The word rash in Arabic means to drip or to splash. According to one version, it was a metaphorical description of the sound of small pebbles breaking on the waves of the Red Sea. It was to this Rashrash post on March 10, 1949, that soldiers of the Israeli Negev Brigade marched without firing a shot, concluding the War of Independence. Unable to find a national flag, they drew one in ink on an ordinary white sheet and raised it over one of the huts. This point on the map was officially assigned to the young state, when the question arose of what to name the future city planned for construction. On this strategic coastline, scholars and politicians decided to abandon the Arabic toponym. They turned to the text of the Tanakh, recalled King Solomon's fleet, and restored the site to its historical biblical name, Eilat.